I wanted to make a video talking a little bit about the situation within Roman Catholicism right now, specifically with the defrocking of Bishop Strickland. And the reason that I, an Anglican, want to talk about this is precisely because it is odd and strange to hear other traditions chiming in on things happening in Rome. And I want to draw out why I think this is a problem. What I have seen on social media are really two things. One is the kind of traditionalist Roman Catholics who are on the side of Bishop Strickland, mourning this devastation and this loss within the church, while the liberal side of Catholicism is, very pleased with this and is very glad that Francis is using and wielding his power in this particular way. The other thing that I'm seeing on social media is Protestant traditions and Eastern Orthodox kind of mocking the Roman Catholic Church in this situation. They're seeing the chaos, they're seeing the frustration, they're seeing the tension, and they're resorting to basically a told you so, your tradition is faulty, look at ours, it's so much better. And kind of using this situation as leverage to basically denigrate the Roman Catholic communion. I think that's a problem, and that's why I want to comment on this. And again, the knee-jerk reaction might be, well, Jonah, you're an Anglican. You don't really have a dog in this fight. But one of the things that really is at the heart of mere Catholicity, at the heart of being and thinking like a Catholic Christian, is a recognition that the Roman Catholic Church is our church. The Eastern Orthodox Church is our church. The Protestant denominations, those are our brothers and sisters. And while we might be in impaired communion on a physical and tangible level, sacramentally through our baptism, we share in the same Lord. And what this means is that if I, as an Anglican, think to myself, because I'm jurisdictionally not in communion with Rome, that gives me the right to prop up my tradition over and against Rome, to mock and deride them for their faults and their errors. That kind of thinking and that kind of attitude and the actions that come along with that are ultimately rooted in this false sense that what you are a part of, your tradition, it is the one true church to the exclusion of all others. This is a problem. When we look at Rome and we see, especially as Anglo-Catholics who acknowledge apostolic succession and who acknowledge that where there are validly ordained bishops, there lies the true church. When we look at a situation like what is happening in Rome, when we see Bishop Strickland get defrocked, that is one of our bishops being defrocked. Some might say, well, it can't be your bishop because you're Anglican. Again, this is the problem. My expression of the Christian faith is within the Anglican tradition, but I am a Catholic first. As I prepare for my own ordination, Lord willing, at some point here in the future, one of the things that I was reminded by my spiritual advisor, spiritual mentor, is that, Jonah, when you are ordained, you will not be ordained as an Anglican deacon. You're going to be ordained as a Catholic deacon within the Anglican tradition. And this perspective enables us to have a sober-mindedness when it comes to the crisis within the wider Catholic body. When we look at Rome, we should mourn with our brothers and sisters over the loss of a faithful bishop like Bishop Strickland, precisely because that is part of our church. When we see liberalism sprouting up in other areas of the church, we should mourn because that is our church. When we see traditions abandon apostolic succession and adopt erroneous doctrines, we should mourn because that is part of our church. If we don't take responsibility for these things and we use situations within other jurisdictions as an opportunity to deride them, we will never actually have conversations that lead to unity, only until we accept responsibility that there are those within the body of Christ who think differently than us, that have errors that are serious at times, that we need to address for the sake of our church. Nothing will ever be done. And so here are my comments on the Bishop Strickland situation. I could use this as an opportunity to argue that Rome is so blatantly false in their papal infallibility, or I could take a moment to mourn the tragedy that is taking place within that jurisdiction and recognize that my brothers and sisters who are also part of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church are in a time of crisis within their particular communion. And I can offer them my prayers. I can come alongside them. I can support where I can support. And I can stand with them. But the last thing that we want to do is forget all of that for some sectarian attitude and some sectarian comments about how our tradition is so much better than this tradition. As an Anglican, I'm convinced that my particular expression of the Catholic faith is the fullness of the faith. I wouldn't be Anglican otherwise. But that doesn't mean that I should be gloating when I see other parts of Christ's body struggling and having difficulties and issues. Number one, it's not charitable, but number two, it actually fails to have a proper ecclesiology. So my heart breaks with the conservative traditionalists within Roman Catholicism that are really fighting so hard to try to find some semblance of orthodoxy and unity, especially within the hierarchy of the church. And it's just not happening. And the defrocking of Bishop Strickland just seems to add fire, really just add fire to this entire plight that the traditionalists have, that the church is under attack from the inside. And so, as an Anglo-Catholic, I stand in solidarity with my brothers and sisters in Rome who are seeking to uphold the traditional Catholic faith, and my heart breaks for them in this situation. And my encouragement to those watching is simply this: if you're part of a different tradition and you're not Roman Catholic, don't make snide comments as though you stand completely outside in your own little bubble, little tradition. No. You are part of the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church, which includes your Roman Catholic brethren. Now, you may think they have errors, as I do, that need to be reformed. But that does not mean that the sacramental unity that we share in our baptism is not still there. And so, therefore, their problems are your problems. And we should act accordingly. I hope that this was helpful. My prayers are with Bishop Strickland, with his diocese, and with those affected by it. And my prayer is ultimately for the unity of Christ's one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church to the glory of his name.